Is spinning. We're live.
All right.
Woo!
Woo.
Welcome everybody. Here's another episode of these crazy people that just eat meat and can't stop talking about it. So what's the topic today, Joe?
How people eat incorrectly.
That's the
how,
unscientific way.
how people think that eating what they eat is the right way when it's
Right.
not really. The balanced diet. We're talking
Well, I
about
mean,
we're talking about the Randle cycle.
Yeah.
and
So
well, I mean, oh, go ahead, Tom.
go,
Yeah.
Justin.
Well, the worst part about it, well, we'll explain the Randle cycle in a second, but the Randle cycle basically kind of pins down like vegans as far as, they see someone getting a cheeseburger and they think the reason why, the person's getting fat or has all these health issues from eating cheeseburgers and say fried chicken and what have you, standard American diet, standard Western diet is because of the meat. Oh, it's all the meat in it, not realizing that, yes, the seed oils also play a part. Many, if not all, fast food is also made in seed oils typically. But what's happening is you're mixing your fats and your carbohydrates, which activates the Randle cycle. Take it from here, Tom.
Yeah, so we've talked about this before. Bart's talked about it. I'm sure other people, I think Frank Tefano's covered it, but still it comes up a lot. So basically the idea is that once the cells in your body that are absorbing nutrients or substances become energy, shall we say. So when they're absorbing blood sugar, fats, protein, perhaps, uh, they to make fuel. Once they're full, once they're replete, then if you have sugar, blood sugar, say glucose and fat trying to get in, they sort of block each other. So they wind up becoming triglycerides, right? So if you get your, they do a blood panel for you and they are checking your cholesterol, which, is kind of a whole tricky sort of discussion in itself, and you have high triglycerides, it could be a result of triggering the Randle cycle, right? Because what happens is once those fuels can't get into the cell, they're floating around the bloodstream and then become triglycerides. Now the processes are complicated and full of all kinds of really long words that we won't bother with, but this is a process you can look up if you really want to dig in the science. But I think we all seen some great examples of how we think of a normal meal, which eventually will cause the accumulation of triglycerides and subsequently obesity, right? The accumulation of fat and even fatty liver syndrome, right?
Yeah, and I just want to add, when you having fats and carbohydrates in the body, which sugar, uh, carbohydrates are the same thing, it all gets converted to glucose for energy in the body. Fat, through it converting into beta hydroxybutyrate and some other processes, also is primarily the fat source of the human body. There's some hormonal things and things like that. So when the body has um, fat and carbohydrates in it and beyond the level of what it can handle at that time at the energy needs, um, your body has to make a choice. So the body cannot have glucose floating around in the bloodstream because you cause glycolysis, which is the damaging of cells throughout the body due to not enough insulin to process the glucose. So glucose, i.e., carbohydrates and sugar, are poisonous to the body at high levels. What exactly those levels are, there's a range, but something when you're talking about 400 grams, 500 grams, more than that, the body starts to struggle. Now, at first, you can do that. You can do that every once in a while. We all remember as kids probably having 1,000 grams of sugar or something like that, right? I mean, how many grams of sugar is in a McDonald's large frosty shake with the M&Ms and the Oreos, right? I mean, it's got to be up there, I would imagine. And we've all had that at one point or another and finished it after having fries and a Big Mac. I know I did it. And so 100% I know you guys did it too.
So
And
dip
so
my fries in the thick shakes.
right. Yeah. So I mean, we're talking very, very, but when you're young, you can handle that. And when you're young and when you don't do it that often, yeah, your body can probably handle it more or less. As you age, you know, maybe a little less, and people eventually end up with type 2 diabetes. Essentially, they burn out their pancreas. It's not that the pancreas breaks necessarily, as it is that they just kind of burned it out. You just have so much glucose floating in the body, they just can't continue to mitigate it properly. And so because the glucose being deadly, it has to bundle the glucose or with the fat and put it together in a triglyceride and then store it on the body as fat and release it later if and when the person eventually gets to a point where not only their blood glucose is yellow,
Blood gooses.
they're blood gooses. There you go. The blood glucose is not just low, but it's stable, and where the body feels like it needs to burn the fat, which is why you have people like Jason Fung that discovered, well, I don't know if it's necessarily discovered, that, hey, if he had people with type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetic go do intermittent fasting or alternate day fasting, things of that nature, that it either mitigates or stops diabetes from progressing. It's because it's giving the body a break. The blood sugar goes down, the glucose levels go down, and the body starts to tap into those reserves and break that stuff up, and voila. Now I feel, so me and Tom, not huge on fasting. Joe, I know you do a bit of intermittent fasting, but you can prevent and reverse more or less type 2 diabetes by eating protein and fat and avoiding carbohydrates, because by avoiding carbohydrates, you circumvent the Randle cycle, which is what caused it more or less in the first place.
Yeah, it's true. And you mentioned if you got elevated glucose, if your blood sugar is high for a while, you do see elevated A1C values, which indicates that the proteins in the red blood cells are being damaged by the glucose in the blood, right? So yeah, your body needs to release more insulin, and of course, more insulin creates its own problems, right?
Yeah, exactly. You become, I hate the term, but insulin resistant, right? Where it's not that you're not able to release enough insulin. It's more that you lose kind of the capacity to keep up with the levels of blood gooses that are in the blood.
Yeah, you got too much blood gooses, then you just release more insulin, and you're overtaxing your pancreas or the beta cells, and then also sometimes they find fatty deposits in the pancreas, which cause another problem, right? Which
would be the Randle cycle in action.
Yeah, it probably is related to the Randle cycle and people having to store more fat. Yeah. So I just pulled it up. So a McDonald's milkshake, large milkshake, is 830 calories. It's got 21 grams of fat and 110 grams of sugar. It's not as much fat in it as I thought there would be.
But can I just make a point? I mean, growing up as a kid, McDonald's was a treat.
Yeah.
Now it's part
of breakfast.
It's a part of their staple. I mean, it's part of their balanced diet. So and we are seeing, as a chef, we are seeing a lot more obese people, I mean, coming into the restaurant and just floating around in general. You know, and with these Uber and Menulog and Deliveroo apps, you know, people don't get up to go walk to the shop anymore. They just get it delivered to their front door. So they're not exercising. So which even makes everything even worse.
Hi, Honest AF.
Hey. Yeah, so Joe's touched on it. So we're inundated with what Tom, likes to say, we're inundated with bad information, right? And one of the worst pieces of information is eat a balanced diet. You got to have 6 to 8 servings of grains, 3 to 4 servings of vegetables, 2 to 3 servings on the pyramid or what country, 1 to 4 servings of meat. I don't really see fat included in that. It's always just meat. They never say how much fat you should have. That's just something just kind of clicked with me right now. And then, the sugar, right? The dessert. Well, half of that damn pyramid is just carbohydrates and sugar. The grain part is carbohydrates and sugar. The vegetable part is carbohydrates and sugar. The fruit part is carbohydrates and sugar. And the dessert is carbohydrates and sugar. So
which all turn into blood gooses.
Blood gooses. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So basically the whole advice is, hey, make sure you're activating that Randle cycle 6 to 10 times a day and you'll be in great health. And which we've all done that. We all used to, I don't remember consciously believing in a balanced diet. But food, you go to any restaurant, everyone's 90% of kitchens out there, unless they're a vegan kitchen, which you're not getting off scot-free tonight. Well, we'll get you here in just a few minutes. But it's eat a balanced diet. Oh, you got to have some greens. Your mother or your father or family members bugged you. Make sure you eat your peas and your corn before you have your dessert and all that stuff. Thinking that they were instilling good eating habits in the children, that we were all instilled with good eating habits because we were told, that just little things like that, finish everything on the plate. You got to have, oh, you want more mashed potatoes? Here, you can have more mashed potatoes. There's never a question of you've had too much mashed potatoes, at least not in my house. I don't know if that was an issue with you, Tom.
There's always room for more mashed potatoes, right?
Right.
Just a giant pile of starch. Usually had some cream and butter in it, or some margarine, God forbid.
Margarine at my house, unfortunately.
Yeah. So think back to your childhood, and we'll ask Joe when he comes back. Tell me an example of a Randle Cycle inducing breakfast from childhood, one that you remember.
Yeah, so probably, even if it wasn't a school day, so school days, it was like oatmeal with peanut butter, which I guess is fats and carbohydrates, but it's probably practically like the worst offender was probably, like an egg sandwich, right? So, bacon, yeah, sure, having the bacon and the eggs, cheese, but squished between some buttered up bread, right? Or margarine, Imperial. Remember the packages, Imperial margarine, right? For on that. So that was probably So tons of they got the fat. So eggs have fat. The bacon is fat. The cheese is fat. Then you got the mix of the carbohydrates, the bread, margarine. Only God knows what's in there.
I'm thinking that that oatmeal with peanut butter was worse, but let's let Joe. Do you remember any breakfasts as a kid that you suspect might have been triggering the Randle cycle?
No, look, we just grew up on eggs and bacon over here.
Oh yeah,
some toast, yeah, some Cocoa Pops.
Did you have
cereal.
An English muffin with butter and jam?
No, we had crumpets.
Crumpets are good. It's like a crispy. It's better than an English muffin, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We should say hi to T-Mock 5. Hello, T-Mock 5.
Hey,
thanks for joining us. Yeah, so I know, like when I was a kid, like a typical breakfast would be some cornflakes with low fat milk and maybe some toast with that, with some jelly or peanut butter on it, some butter and a glass of orange juice. It's like probably not real high fat, but definitely a lot of carbohydrate. So,
Hmm. I
for
mean, I
sure.
remember when I was maybe not so much when I was younger, but as I was trying to get healthy, I was eating bowls of fruit and with honey and all that kind of stuff. Toast, bread with strawberry jam on it because I thought it was all good for me.
Mhm.
Wasn't good for my waist though.
Well, yeah, I mean, now thinking back when I was more plant-based, I was probably eating low fat, which kind of brings me to the picking on the vegans. So as Bart likes to say, yeah, the standard American diet is the worst diet a person can eat, but the second worst diet a person can. So similarly to the carnivore diet, the vegan diet also, if done quote unquote properly, is a low fat, moderate protein diet, or yeah, low fat, moderate protein, high carb diet. Um, so
There's
because
vegans right now arguing about that. So,
that assumption that it's a low fat, high carb, medium protein diet. What? Should I just continue? Are we okay? Anyway, continuing. We can edit that part out, right?
No,
yeah.
it's live.
Yeah, as soon
Dang
as we
it.
get a time machine. Yeah.
um, so yeah, so the vegan diet also circumvents the Randle cycle, which is good. That's a big plus.
If it's low fat, high carb, right?
Right, exactly. And so, if you're not having, so Oreos are vegan, if you're having Oreos, you might be getting some vegetable fat
Yeah.
stuff in
Does
you.
that frosting got vegetable oil in it? I
Probably. I
imagine
would
those
imagine
cookies
so.
do too.
Probably
Right.
get
Yeah.
you'd probably be getting some inflammation more than anything.
Right. And so, so why do people, especially in the beginning, they go vegan and they get, some kind of improvement. They probably lose some weight. Maybe some things do clear up. Maybe their joints do start to ache a little less and things like that. Well, the reason why, at least in my mind or my theory, is that they've stopped activating the Randle cycle. Their body's running on just pure glucose with a little bit of protein, basically. Um, but unfortunately, unlike the carnivore diet, they're missing out on amino acids. They're missing out on more bioavailable protein. They're getting a bunch of fiber in the gut, so that's gumming things up. They're scrubbing their colon. You know,
So let me ask you a quick question. I just looked up the nutritional facts on Oreos. Um,
Mr. Statistics.
how many cookies would you say is one serving?
isn't it supposed to be like 3? Is that 3?
For most people, it's a packet.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So they're talking about 3, which is, I guess, a recommended serving, right?
Yeah. I
Just to keep
won.
you
I got it right.
just to
Yeah.
keep you out of the Randle cycle, probably. But 3 cookies, it looks like, is 7 grams of fat and 25 grams of carbohydrate.
That's 3 cookies.
Yep.
And who
Sweet
eats 3
Christ.
cookies?
Right. That, and you got to have
You know?
have it with you're dipping it in milk. I mean,
Yeah.
Oreos, dipping it in milk, whole milk, is just that was heavenly when I was a kid.
And then it never stopped at the Oreos. You just progress onto something else. I've had 3 Oreos, but then I'm going to have 3 of something else. I'll have a packet of chips and I'll have some candy. But I'm just having the serving sizes of each.
You guys want to hear my OCD/autism as a kid? So when I was a kid, I would grab the pack of Oreos and I would count out 5, but I would make them like, how 5 is on dice? Have the dots? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would have that on one napkin, and then I would have another napkin with another they perfectly laid out like dice. So I would have 10 cookies for dessert with a big glass of milk, but they had to be lined like 5 and 5 on 2 separate sheets, and they couldn't touch. And it was like the dice. Yeah, it was. Why couldn't someone hit me? Like they should have this. I wish, there are times my dad hit me, but I wish that would have been one of those times, because that's just nuts.
Hmm. Well, Lambs asked what type of fat it was, and apparently they use palm oil or canola oil.
Wasn't there a study just recently that palm oil was linked to cancer?
I think there's several studies, but
Several studies. It was one just not long ago. I think I shared it with you guys.
correct,
And also-
Lambs. That is PUFA, the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio, all kinds of messed up.
Let's see. I barely started typing it, and it came up right up. Fatty acid found in palm oil linked to spread of cancer. Ooh.
Now, again, it is epidemiology, so take it with a grain of salt, but I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, so coming from California, and Tom, you can attest to this. You walk into any restaurant, and on the placard there's chemicals here that are known to the state of California.
Yeah, that's true.
To cause like, it's on everything, to where the point is like it's pretty much pointless to have the sign.
Everything, everywhere you go in California, there's signs that says there's chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer in use here.
Okay, I'm going to Brazil. I'm canceling my trip.
Like the signs are literally on everything and everywhere and every package, basically, of everything.
I'm gonna start taking pictures when I walk in places.
Yeah.
Can't go anywhere without causing cancer.
Yeah. Yay, go Oreos. Oh, but think about, like, Oreo ice cream is also the best ice cream. The cookies and cream, my God. Bowls, like, I'd have 2 bowls in a night sometimes. Like, how did I even sleep? Like, it's crazy. And a Dr. Pepper,
Yeah, well, there you go. Ice cream's a good example, and of course now it's got a lot of fructose in it. Like, at least your super premium artisan ice cream, so they're going to be loaded with sugar, fat, and high fructose corn syrup.
What about the donut? Cooked in fat?
cooked in seed oil.
Starch, cooked in fat, and covered with sugar.
Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah. I wonder what the most common oil they fry those things in.
I think it's like cottonseed or soy oil, just because it's the cheapest.
Yeah, definitely. Well, cottonseed's quite expensive, so it's just seed oil or some other seed oil.
I mean, maybe if you're lucky, lard. But a lot of the store-bought lard has seed oil in it, which is really sad. I wish I could just get pure lard because I really like it.
Well, was it Wild Wings or Wingstop or one of them? They still fry their chicken wings in lard.
Yeah.
So the most common oils for frying donuts is canola oil and sunflower oil.
Sunflower oil, right? So yeah, the way plant fats activate the Randle cycle, I'll be honest, I'm not quite sure if it's the same way as like milk fat or animal fat.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some nuances to it, but they all sort of, when it comes to putting energy in the cell, they probably all go through a similar mechanism, right?
I would guess so. I mean, but a lot of vegans, well, that's not so bad. I mean, so people get like a steak salad, and to be healthy, they'll get olive oil and vinegar, right? Thinking that they've kind of just messed it up. Like they would have been okay if they just got the steak and the salad, okay, more or less. But as soon as they throw on that dressing, they've now activated the Randle cycle. Like for sure, and dressings, Thousand Island, like not even talking Thousand Island Ranch, which have, they have the fat free, but I think you're still getting something from the seed oils that's in it.
So while we're on the topic of oils, yeah, T Mach 5 pointed out that canola oil is Canada's biggest export, and that's why I call it canola oil, right? That's how it's marketed, but it actually comes from a plant called the rape plant. So they squeeze oil out of the rape seeds, and then they have to deodorize it and change the flavor because it's really nasty. But it's a plant that they can profitably grow in Canada. So there's a concerted effort for economic reasons to develop that. So and then of course palm oil. We hear all about how they're cutting down forests and stuff to
Those
plant
poor
more.
monkeys. You got to get organic, fair trade, monkey-free palm oil.
Monkey-free palm oil,
Yeah.
or just don't eat palm oil.
But just a couple of years ago, there was a shortage of extra virgin olive oil, and manufacturers were blending it with vegetable oil.
Ooh.
Well,
Yeah.
that's a common
Yeah.
problem in the United States. Is like a lot of the olive oil is actually cut with other vegetable oils. So a
Yeah.
lot of the big companies like Costco and Sam's Club, they test all that stuff because they don't want to be trying to sell their customers premium olive oil and find out it's cut with something funky.
Well,
That's why it's
I
always,
mean-
but
all the
that's why
olive
it's
oil
always
coming
important
out
to
of
read the
Italy
labels.
what's that?
I was just going to say it's always very important to read the labels because it might say, extra virgin. This is just an example, extra virgin olive oil. Then you turn it around, and it'll say 85%, olives or olive oil, and then whatever 15%, whatever other oil it is. So it's
seen that
very
with
important to always read the labels.
I've seen that with avocado oil. Like, it's like
Yeah.
selling for really high price, and then you say, "Oh, it's mostly canola oil."
Yeah.
Oh, I remember paying $20 to $30 for a liter of pure organic olive oil at the health food store.
God, how many steaks could you eat for that?
Right. Well, it used to be a nice stack of steaks, not no more. Thanks, but Boogaloo Joe.
That's
Yeah,
good,
well,
Brandon.
it's not uncommon for restaurants to sort of base the steaks with vegetable oil or olive oil. So
Mhm.
if you're sensitive to that, you might, and you're going out to eat, you might want to ask, hey, do you guys oil your steaks? Because Lambs is saying in the comment section that sunflower oil is really common in Europe for donuts.
Mhm.
Oh man, I remember going to a Denny's. Are your European friends maybe or may not know what Denny's is? Tom, I know you know what Denny's is. Joe, do you know Denny's?
I worked with a guy called Denny, but I had no idea what Denny's is.
So Denny's is basically it's the after party restaurant. Because it used to be, but I don't think it is anymore. Some of them are. So they're open 24/7. And they're just, it's America's diner. They're all across the United States. I'm not quite sure if there's a state that does not have a Denny's. It's just a franchised, huh?
I doubt it.
Maybe Alaska. Alaska may not have a Denny's. Hawaii, I would be surprised if there's a Denny's in Hawaii, but it could be about 50-50. The lower 48, I think for sure, all have a Denny's. Anyway, so I remember one time going to Denny's and I ordered the T-bone steak and eggs. And it was the slimiest, greasiest T-bone steak I've ever had in my life. And it was like, this is not butter. Like, what in the hell? Like, it was drippy. Like, it was gross. I ate it.
Probably fell on the floor.
Maybe.
Sorry to
Just on the
disappoint you.
plate.
Sorry to disappoint you, Justin, but there are 2 Denny's in Alaska.
Really? Holy
What about Hawaii,
wow.
Tom?
Was it on here? Yeah, Hawaii has 5.
Whoa! All right,
God.
it is. I think it truly is in every state. Then it's got to be.
Quick jump back to the olive oil. Yeah, I've heard that. T Mach 5 mentioned it.
Yeah, the mafia.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
olive oil.
yeah. I've heard that as
industry's all mobbed up,
especially if it's coming from Italy.
right? Guess how many Denny's there are in California?
Well, there's got to be like 100. I don't know.
It's 371.
Oh wow!
Wow.
Yeah, I
So the
could
chances
see
I
that.
would drive by one.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah. And
Don't
they
worry.
all vary in quality, really.
God, disgusting.
If you were here, I'd make you eat there, Joe. Hint, hint.
I'm down for a Denny's run when Joe's there.
Yes,
We gotta go in at like 2 a.m.
September, I'll be at 2 a.m. Yeah, no worries. It's just as we walk out of the strip club, we'll go straight there.
That's often how it happens.
And can we edit that part out so my wife doesn't hear?
Yes, as soon as we get a time machine.
Oh man, I remember some parties though hitting the Denny's after. My brother worked at a Denny's too, and so some nights I would just go to bug him while he's working. But I would get sometimes I would just sit at the bar and get a cherry limeade. So good, like it's the most amazing drink ever. It's the cherry limeade. Yeah, it's delicious.
Hey, speaking of breakfast and ice cream, can't you get like ice cream or a cereal with a scoop of vanilla ice cream there?
At Denny's?
Yeah, I think they do.
I don't
that.
think at Denny's. I don't remember them having cereal in like ever. I've never ordered
ice cream.
cereal at Denny's.
Yeah, you could order like.
I know you can get pancakes with ice cream. I think that's a thing.
There you go.
Like the pecan pancakes with ice cream. Yeah, at the top.
God.
Oh yeah, no, their food is absolute gluttony. Like they have
It's
special.
It's like typical diner food, you know. They have steak, but it's okay steak, but you know they have big breakfasts. You know they have all kinds of omelets and pancakes and stuff like that.
Wow.
So.
I used to get the French toast slam. So it was 4 slices of French toast, 2 eggs, 2 slices of bacon, 2 sausage, and 3 slices of toast with jam and butter.
If you've ever seen
Butter.
Pulp Fiction.
No, I've never seen it. Can you believe it? Never seen it.
Because they filmed that there's a diner scene that's filmed in what was an old, I think it was a Denny's, and now it's basically used for movie shoots.
Oh.
It's not you can drive by it and see it, I think. So, anyways, yeah, if you ever want to know what a Denny's looks like, that's what it looks like.
Oh, and if you do go to Denny's and get the hash browns extra crispy. Because they cook them a little like light, you know? Like, I don't know. The way I liked my hash browns, I liked them crunchy. So, like, I always ordered my hash browns.
So you could chip your teeth
crispy.
on them?
Yeah, I guess so. That's how I liked them. It's hard to make hash browns at home, though. It's a pain in the ass. So I feel like that's one of those foods that's so more worth it to get out than making it home.
So how many pancakes with ice cream would you have to eat, you think, to trigger the Randle cycle?
You just gotta look at it.
One.
Just look at it. Let's see. Blood sugar goes through the roof.
Yeah, your blood goose. The blood
gooses get high.
Yeah.
Plenty of fat. Because you're gonna put some eggs and bacon in between those pancakes, right?
Oh yeah. Well, go ahead, Joe.
I was just gonna ask, just very quick. Obviously, you've got Chinese restaurants there, and as kids, you probably ate at a Chinese restaurant, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys ever have deep fried ice cream?
Oh yeah, I've had deep fried ice cream. Yeah.
Only at Mexican restaurants. Or the county fair.
Oh, Okay.
Yeah.
So we don't have many Mexican restaurants here.
We could loan you a few.
No, that's okay. It's all good.
They're everywhere here. So
they're even everywhere here, and the Chinese restaurants. Actually, the hardest food to find in Missouri is American food. Ironically.
You have to go
really
to Denny's
strange.
to get American food.
Yeah, to go to Denny's, or there's barbecue, but yeah.
Let's see. The hell state you in again, Justin?
I'm in the state of Missouri.
Missouri.
There are 31 Denny's in Missouri.
All right. Yeah. Well, I know where one is. There actually is not a Denny's in Springfield. At least I don't think so.
Which is weird because like Mississippi only has 4.
Oh, that makes our state better or worse. It'll be a cold day in hell before I recognize Missouri. There we go.
How many In-N-Outs are in California?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. There's got to be 500. I don't know.
There's just in Riverside County.
Considering there's one I mean, there used to be a little more rare, but as time goes on, I mean, they've really, I mean, I think the drive-through lines, like, I don't think you could put enough In-N-Outs in California because every single night there's a 2-hour line between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m.
So believe it or not, there's only 358 In-N-Outs. Of course,
Oh,
most
wow.
of them are in California, but that's a lot of restaurants for one state. It's on par with Denny's.
I think there's just a few more In-N-Outs to Denny's, right? It was like 310 or something like that with the Denny's.
Denny's in California wasn't like 381 or something.
Oh, there's actually more Denny's.
371. Yeah.
Oh, there's actually more Denny's than there are In-N-Outs. Holy crap. That's kind of crazy.
And it's crazy because there's always a line, right? I mean,
At where?
unless you go
In-N-Out?
at, yeah, in and out. Unless you go, you know, right when they open or in between lunch and dinner, there's always a
7 a.m.
When COVID hit, when the modern pestilence descended upon us, I believe the lines at In and Out.
They were
It's like down the street, and you're blocking traffic. You know, it's crossing intersections.
Really?
Yeah, they got put cones out, and yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
even to go for lunch, like even if you went like 12-1, it was like a 2-hour wait to get food. I did it once, like before because when it first happened, they weren't doing indoor dining. Like you couldn't even go and do carry out when the pestilence first hit. And so it was only drive-through, and it was just insane. Like even more insane. Like In-N-Out, it's always insane at the drive-through. This was like you have to plan your In-N-Out.
Do you see Justin Freeze once in a while, Joe?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
He's actually a little bit pixelated, unless he's got
I've
special
got the
effect on.
whole Star Trek, like, you know, when
Okay.
they're in the machine, like what is it, the transporter or the hollow?
Okay.
No, what is it called? Tom, you're a Trekkie.
Yeah, the
You gotta
transporter
be.
thing where it's like sparkly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never watched Star Trek.
Not even Enterprise?
No.
Deep Space Nine? Oh man, we gotta have a Star Trek.
When I was a
night.
kid, I couldn't wait for those
Yeah,
reruns
definitely.
to come on. The original ones, the old ones.
I've never actually watched the original. Is it actually better than Enterprise? I've heard Enterprise is the best.
I've kind of, you know, those ones that came on later. I saw them here and there, but I couldn't tell you which one is which. I know there's one with Data and Geordi, right?
Yeah, so that's
I've seen that one.
Enterprise. The one with William Shatner is the original Star Trek.
Mhm.
The one with what's the guy's name? The actor that's the captain. Picard.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The skinny
Picard.
dude.
Yeah. With like a egg. Like his head literally
Yeah.
looks like an egg. Hey, comment in the comments what series of Star Trek is your favorite? And if you had the machine, the replicator or whatever, like if we ever get to the point of like the replicator, what cut of meat are you replicating like
I
every
wish I
night?
had a replicator on my desk right now. I could go for some.
What
How
kind
about
of
some
meat
ribs?
are you replicating?
Yeah,
What
what do
you
you because the
You live in the
machine makes
future.
any food that you want. Basically, it's how they eat. Patrick
Tomahawk.
Stewart, thank you, ADS. Yeah. That's his name.
Would you be replicating some McDonald's or? Hell no, you'd be like ribeye, New York strip,
Lobster,
Tomahawk.
salmon.
St. Louis ribs.
Yeah.
I'd like 6 pounds of bluefin tuna, please. Yep. So, what do you think? I mean, did they ever talk about nutrition in any of those Star Treks? Or did they like say like they worked it out? Because I mean, if you're just sitting there replicating whatever food you want, then it's kind of like, I get it. You're just eating whatever you want. There's no structure to it. But do you think this is the future, or the science is advanced? You know, you think there'd be some dietary directives, right?
Yeah, it was never discussed. Yeah, I don't remember them ever talking about the nutrition of the food.
I do remember the Klingons liked to party.
Yeah, they did. I think they were carnivore.
God, I hope so.
Ray, what are the comments? What comments we got here?
Joe got a question from T Mach 5 there. So Joe, were you and Ivor Dudney or
Dooney or
Oogie
Oogie Oogie or
Oogie fan?
Oogie Oogie or Oogie Oogie?
To be absolutely honest, I don't know either of them. Growing up, I was a fan of Chips, Knight Rider, Knight Rider, yeah, MacGyver.
Knight Rider. Love Knight Rider.
Yeah, he was good. Baywatch, of course.
Babe Watch.
Baywatch. Beverly Hills 90210.
Hey,
That
stop
was a
stealing our
TV
television.
Is that a TV series or a movie? I remember the movie.
It was a TV series,
TV
90210.
series.
Yeah.
No, I thought you said Beverly Hills Cop. That was a movie.
That was a movie. That was several movies.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm just wondering in the future what they'll eat. I mean, obviously they're not going to get fresh steak on the spaceship somewhere.
There's a great anime. Knights of Sidonia. Yeah, I think that was the name of the anime. It was on Netflix. I don't think it's on there anymore. Only had 2 seasons, but it like took place in space and it was all sci-fi and everything. But to survive in space, humans had been genetically modified to photosynthesis on long space journeys. So before finding
What
about,
color were they?
they were human colored. Yeah.
They weren't green or anything.
They weren't green. No, I guess they were able to photosynthesize without the chloroplasts. But honestly, before carnivore, I was like, that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to genetically modify ourselves. We're going to have to genetically modify ourselves for long space travel. Now, I don't think that would work. See, I honestly, carnivore makes me think we can't leave Earth. I'm like, I don't think we can travel and make other planets because we rely too heavily on meat and fat for us to function properly. So I think long space travel and colonizing another planet is just out of the. It's completely destroyed my sci-fi dreams. Is what I'm saying. No three boob alien green chicks. Unfortunately, I just don't think it's going to happen.
So I was going to say, Tim Mc5 just said they're meat pie shops. Where?
I think he's talking about the Ivor Dune.
Yeah, but where?
And Augie. It's funny because my girlfriend likes to watch that Gordon Ramsay restaurant rescue or something.
Hell's Kitchen or something.
It's one where he goes to restaurants that are failing and turns them around.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and they all fail after the series anyway.
There was a Australian bloke, and he served Australian meat pies, and that's so then.
Was it made from roux?
Oh yeah, it's all roux, top to bottom. We cooked that
Tim
old
Mc5, I'm in Sydney, Australia. I'm not in Britain.
Wrong accent.
Yeah, completely different.
They're all the same, aren't they, Joe?
No.
He's not saying top of the morning.
No.
Would you like some spotted dick? Is spotted dick carnivore?
You better explain that quick. Does everybody in Australia eat meat pies, Joe?
Pretty much.
So what's in a meat pie?
Probably all the shit that's on the floors.
I like me some hair pie.
No. Look, a good meat pie is usually. What was that? What did you say?
You don't want him repeating it.
You don't want me to repeat it.
Oh, God. The man is foul. It's not what we're talking about, Justin.
Sorry.
Please get back.
Vegemite
You
sandwich.
said pie.
Yeah, I had a lot of Vegemite sandwiches growing up. It's just my son's favorite food, Vegemite sandwiches.
So Vegemite sandwich is some sort of yeast byproduct. I mean, how close is it to meat?
Well, it's high in protein. I'm going to bring you some.
Did they put it in meat pie?
No.
Have you ever made a meat pie?
I used to make heaps of them.
So what'd you put in it?
It was from ages ago. It was chuck we used to put in it. We would slow braise it for about 12 hours, the meat.
Really?
Yeah.
12 hours.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, look, it was such a long time ago that, yeah. I mean, fuck, since then
So
I've cooked
steak.
so many different meals. Yeah, it's a combination of meats just cooked over a slow period of time. Then you sort of break it all apart. It's in a gastronome container. You sort of mash it up. Got your
A
pastry. You've got special trays. It's a big
what
silver,
kind of container?
big, deep
Pot?
container. So not a pot. It's a deep tray.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Could you make meat pie carnivore, or to become like a big
because
chunk?
because you need the pastry.
You couldn't use like chicken or ground beef, like a pizza or something.
No, because there's a gravy, it would seep through. I guess the only way you could attempt to do it.
We need a watertight egg white polymer to make the crust.
Maybe the egg life. Maybe we could use the egg life.
Well, actually, you know what?
Tortillas.
You can make a pot pie. So it's actually, instead of it having a pastry base, you've got you put in a bowl, and then you cook it in the bowl, and then you put a pastry top on it. But you'd have to substitute that pastry top with maybe make something with some carnivore bread.
How about a cheese crust?
You could do that, but I think a carnivore bread would be better.
Carnivore bread.
Ooh, that reminds me. It's time to pick on the keto crowd. We love you, but got to pick on you.
All right, pick on them.
The plant-based, you mean?
No, I already picked on the plant-based crowd a little bit.
Yeah, but isn't keto predominantly plant-based? You got this little piece of meat.
Ooh, shots fired. Shots fired.
And then you got it like Eric Berg says, you got to have a bowl of salad.
Hey, we already have one war going on in this world. We don't need to start another one. It'll be damn near just as deadly. So the keto people, listen, it's great. We like that you're eating more meat, that you're having your fat. It's awesome. Love it. Keeping those carbs below 50 grams, below 25 grams. Solid. My issue is that, you're still activating that Randle cycle, not as badly as our standard, standard diet friends, but you don't need those carbohydrates. You don't. Just telling you, it's just not necessary,
But it's only 20 grams or so.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're doing that, if you're doing that twice a day, yeah, you're probably going to be cool. I'm not going to overblow it, but there's still people that on keto like have some inflammation, right? Like their joints still hurt and things like that. And I think one part of that is the anti-nutrients still from the plants, but a part of it, whether it's a small part, is the Randle cycle still being activated. Because if you're coming from standard American or a vegan diet and you just go keto, you still have a lot of damage, right? Because a lot of people eat, standard Western for 2-3 decades before they ever start or find keto, and so
yeah. Well, like a lot of people, keto is a gateway to carnivore. Like the band Parlos, he was saying that he was keto for a year before carnivore. And that was a similar story.
I was the same.
Yeah.
I was the same. But see, a lot of people, though, Justin, that they'll eat, like for them, keto, and I had a friend do it. And for him, keto was mascarpone cheese, keto bread, keto bombs. And that was a keto diet for him, and he couldn't sustain it. So, when people think eat high fat, they think, oh yeah, peanut butter and all the other shit that goes with it. They don't realize you've got to actually eat real whole foods, whether it be an avocado or whatever. And again, yeah, I think there's two different styles of keto that people do: the fat bomb shit and then the whole food stuff.
Hmm. For sure. I mean, it's like any diet. It's like there's probably some people living on like carnivore bars and jerky with teriyaki sauce on it. Yeah, I'm carnivore.
Or
So,
maple baked
Bacon.
Yeah, maple
there
bacon.
you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, speaking of that, I was at my buddy Tony's house and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna cook up some bacon and bring that." It's like, "This is candied bacon," and I was like, "Yeah, I forgot exactly how it's made, but like it had so much sugar on it." I mean, it had a ton of sugar on it. It was delicious, but yeah, it was kind of one of those things.
Hey, ADS, throw up more information about that. I haven't quite heard about avocado chemical
Yeah.
that causes instant diabetes. My desire to learn more intensifies.
Yeah, that'd be fun to look into. And hi to Christina, the carnivore there. Good to see you again. Thanks for dropping in, Ben Parlos. Of course, ADS is back. He's always here. Now, being from the great state of California, I think my life would be in jeopardy if I said something bad about avocados or almonds, you know? But
That's a lynching where in California.
you you guys feel free to bash it.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, Tom makes some bomb pemmican.
yeah, I did a video on it. We could talk about pemmican again. So yeah, we made pemmican. We even put a little organ meat in a batch to try it out. And
How'd
that
that turn out?
carnivore, huh?
How'd that turn out?
Oh,
It's
good.
good. You couldn't
That's
really
great.
even tell. Some of those organ meats, like I think we put kidney and liver in it, right?
Yeah, we
Mhm.
put kidney and liver in it. Yeah.
You had, I think it was a kidney. You had to grind it up really fine because it gets really hard when you dehydrate it. Like you could chip a tooth on that. So, if you're asking if we put blueberries in the pemmican, no, it was. We did put salt in it though. So I guess real pemmican doesn't even have salt in it, but we put salt in it and we were making a joke about coming up with a company called Pemmican Prescription because we would just put some organ meats in there uh in with the meat. So, you know, if you needed a little extra vitamins, you put some liver in it. If
You had histamine issue, you could throw a little bit of kidney. You did
right.
some coenzyme. We never did heart. I don't know if you
Mm.
ever threw in some heart. I don't know if you ever dehydrated heart. I don't think you ever
No,
did.
I never dehydrated it.
I want to just take a second to say hi, Joe Fry guy, Joe Fry guitar guy. Thanks for the tongue twister. Try say that 5 times fast. Thanks for the hi and the like. Make sure to subscribe, hit that bell icon. We really appreciate it. Everyone, if you could hit that like button, smash that like button with a steak or some lobster, be definitely cool. I think we do have super chats enabled. So if anyone ever wanted to ask a question or
No, I
something
don't think
like
we
that,
do.
well, super
Just give me your
chats to
bank
come.
account, Justin.
Six
Nothing
six
less
five
than a hustler.
3 1. Oh. So there's one group of people I want to pick on before we go, and that's our new friends. Maybe they're not new. Our friends in the carnivore community, the carnivore plus fruit crowd. Which I mean, I honestly, that's just keto, isn't it? Basically, I mean, I don't know.
I
Anyway,
don't know. You don't really eat that much fruit on keto, right? I mean,
I
you
suppose
can get
that's
away with a
true.
little
A little
bit.
bit of berries, few berries here
Yeah,
and there.
berries.
I mean, they're eating, a whole heap of fruit.
So, I mean, I'm a little skeptical about the whole thing. But the thing is that like you talk to them and they're like, because it's people that know about the Randle cycle that are promoting the fruit plus meat, right? And so when you confront them and like, well, what about activating the Randle cycle? They kind of just like teeter totter maneuver around it. And, I think the reason they give is that like, oh, I'm waiting like an hour in between having my fruit and having my carbohydrates. And I don't know what happens. I don't know if there is thank
Well,
you.
and to be honest, if you just ate a piece of fruit, it's probably not a big downside to it, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the worst thing.
I
But
think
I am.
apples go roughly like, I think I read like 50, 30 to 50 grams of carbohydrate per apple, you know?
But then they're having honey as well with
Well,
that.
yeah, you got to slice the apple up and dip it in honey, right?
And so I'm not sure of having that blood glucose because you would be highly insulin sensitive if you've been carnivore for a while, and so you would have that honey or that piece of apple. Wait a couple hours, yeah. Uh, you might be. Hey, that was a cool trick. How'd you do that, Tom?
I just started clicking on stuff. I don't even know.
Cool. Hey, look at this quality going up on the show. Thanks, guys. So that's the name of that chemical in avocado, which is like super deadly, apparently. Super diabeto.
D-manoheptulose. He will do a
Um,
show on that. Learn a little something, something.
there you go. So maybe you're cool then having your meal with the fat and the protein, but at the end of the day, if you're having glucose plus fat and protein or glucose plus fat, you're activating the Randle cycle, and we're trying to reduce inflammation and chronic disease in the body. To me, that's the goal overall.
I suppose if you're under eating, you may not activate the Randle cycle, but certainly once you get into a surplus, you got an issue.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. I think that'd be more question for Bart. I mean, if you're saying that outright,
Well,
I'll attach my boat to yours.
and activating the Randle cycle occasionally probably isn't that big of a deal either. It's like when you
Correct.
do it every day for decades on end, you're going to be in trouble. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So there is a bit of nuance here. I just think if you're coming from being very ill, to an extent that Joe was at one point, just the game of reducing overall bodily inflammation is just the goal. At least that is for me, as much as I can.
Back to Bamparlos. Yeah, if back in the channels, in my channel here somewhere, Meat Mosaic, before we called it Meat Mosaic, probably there is a video where I talk about making pemmican. But basically, I make a lot of jerky. You know, I use a dehydrator. We put beef in there, dry it out, and then throw it in like a food processor and grind it up so it's like powdery sawdust kind of consistency, and then you mix that with fat. So it's got a lot of fat trimmings. It was beef fat. I don't know if we ever tried pork fat, but you basically just mixing the dried meat with the fat, and it's like comes out like it almost looks like chocolate when it's set up, you know. And the ratio of meat to fat is it's all kind of all over the place depending on who you ask. But that's essentially what those carnivore bars are. You know, you open that thing up, it almost looks like a candy bar, and you bite into it, and it's like fat and meat.
It is the
bits of
weirdest
meat.
sensation
You feel
because
like
your
you're about
brain
to-
thinks candy bar, and you bite into it, and you're like, "This is not a candy bar."
In fact, I saved a little bit for my first batch of pemmican and had it sitting in the fridge for a couple years, probably. I don't know. And I finally ate it, and it tasted exactly the same 2 years later. So, yeah,
It's
and
preserves great.
they talk a lot about pemmican in that book, Fat of the Land,
Yeah.
which I don't know if I ever got all the videos together, but as part of a group of people that read chapters from Fat of the Land, we Sean Baker read, and
I did a chapter.
what's her name? Is it Black Cart? No,
That's her internet name.
Is it
Black
just
Carnivore.
Black Carnivore?
I
Is there
forget
more
her,
to it?
her real name. We haven't talked to her in forever.
Yeah. So
Did M do a chapter? Ray?
I forget. Yeah. So, anyways, we read that book, and it talks a lot about pemmican in there. So,
Yeah.
and as far as what cuts do I use, Whatever's cheap. I mean, use a lot of top and bottom round. And one of the reasons why I do that is one of the stores I go to, it's already cut fairly thin. And so it just saves me time on cutting it up. So, and I've been working on a Dorito flavor. Uh-huh.
Beef
Yeah.
Doritos.
So, I'm on my third dehydrator. So I've been dehydrating food since long before I was carnivore. So I burn them out after a while. Because what happens is you make jerky and everybody eats it, and you're like, "Damn it, I'm out of jerky." And then you got to, I could literally make 3-4 pounds a week, and it would just disappear. Of course, when you're hungry, you can eat a lot of jerky, you know. So, but I mean, I could start with 3, 4, 5 pounds of. I think my old dehydrator held like 7 or 8 pounds. And especially if you get the flavor just right, because I do season it with different stuff. A lot of it I make is just salt. I make it plain with nothing on it. And my dog, that's what I give my dog for treats. I dehydrate liver for my dog. I guess I could probably put the link to the jerky video in the comments here.
I think you can. So whatever you do, do not eat only jerky for 2 days straight. As soon as your body gets some fat, man, you open those bile ducts and there's no stopping it.
No. I was just reading a message from Timac5. Family birthdays are the worst for me. Cake is everywhere. And my background's Italian. You can imagine how bad that is.
So how do you deal with it, Joe? You also have a kid.
I try and eat it. Well, okay. So for my son's birthday, I'll have a piece of cake. Okay, because it's his birthday. But I try and eat as much meat as I can.
Yeah, one time you were trying to keep up with him, right? You didn't feel so hot.
That's happened.
Yeah, it's a weird kind of sickness when you have it. I don't know if it's like because of the blood goose, but it's a weird feeling now thinking about it when you do. It's kind of like a reverse keto flu. I don't know. It's really funky. Like you just don't feel right. You don't feel like a flu. You don't feel like a cold. You just don't feel right. Sometimes headachy, but not always, right? It's just kind of this, your energy level feels off.
It's like you're being hit by a bus.
Moody. Yeah, but it's weird symptoms though.
I have not fried jerky in butter, but it sounds amazing. Sorry, just commenting on a comment.
There you go.
I threw a link in there. It's one of the pemmican and jerky.
Can you remove that comment?
Huh?
Have you worked out how to do that?
How to remove a comment?
No. There's the comment that's on our main screen on our screen.
Oh,
just
you don't want to look at it anymore.
No. There could be other comments that we can put up as well.
Yeah, I don't know how to remove it. I could probably replace it with another one.
Yeah,
replace it.
Yeah, I'm clicking.
So just a quick, I saw someone say honey is just sugar though. The more I look into it, honey is actually worse than sugar because it's mostly fructose, and the body actually, what would you say, metabolizes fructose quicker than glucose, actually. So it's actually harder for your body to process and keep up with fructose than glucose. So it's a real shot to your body, the fructose. So I learned that recently, kind of more definitively. So in my opinion, you're actually better off with table sugar than honey, even in some respect, which is like kind of crazy. Now I think honey still has its use. I don't think we may not quite understand honey. Bees are pretty complex. I know it's good for burns and it's good for yes, exactly. Oh, what in the, I disappeared. Was I supposed to?
No.
Good one, Tom.
I'm not sure what happened. I was gonna.
That's better. I like to be in the middle.
I was about to sneeze, and I was just.
Oh no, it's this way.
About to sneeze and
Kiss
then
your
it's
cheek.
just you. Actually, Judy, what's her name? A nutrition with Judy. She
Yeah.
sent out an email. It was a really good one talking about fructose.
Yeah. I listened to that podcast. She had an expert on. Right. Honey does have some things. Yeah. Paul Salad Dinosaur. Yeah, he's a bit off on that. If you look into Bart's talked about it, but if you look at the studies that he's actually pulled up to justify his fructose, his honey, there have like 6 participants, and it's really poor science. Unfortunately, poor salad dinosaur. And I have his book. I still think Carnivore Code is a fantastic carnivore book and a fantastic carnivore reference. I did buy his carnivore cookbook. I don't mind. Take what you want. But as far as that, he's just off. He's off. I have had honey. I have a friend that owns a honey company, so I try his product. But I feel like here's the big difference. There's one thing to have a bit of honey and just be like, oh, I'm having a bit of honey because I want some honey. I feel like it's a whole nother thing to have a little bit of honey and claim it's a health food. So that's more my issue. I don't have an issue with people having honey, period. I have an issue with people proclaiming honey and other fruit is necessary and a health food. Well, that's not all bees. There are bees. There are bees that do eat meat. Now, I don't know if it's that they primarily eat meat. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, Christina.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you would guess. Although he is in really good shape. That's the whole thing. It's kind of murky. It's
but he's also
really
living a very stress-free life as well.
Yeah, he's living in was it Costa Rica, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, I just don't think it's a health food. Right, exactly. There's many foods like that, and it's you got to start with the foundations, right? Of what's necessary, what's optimal for the body, and what we were designed to eat. And and they what we're designed to eat. And if you look at the records and whatnot, it was meat and fat, mammoth preferably, but unfortunately we ate all the mammoths. So
no, we didn't. Come on now. That's more propaganda from the people that are always trying to tell us human beings are bad and we ruin everything because the mammoths got wiped out by the climate. Because I mean in Russia there was like
okay, if that didn't happen, we would have eaten all the mammoths. I don't think.
No, we'd be farming them right now. What are you talking about?
I don't think we could farm a mammoth.
Sure we can.
Be walking them down the street, on a leash.
Do we farm elephants?
Do we what?
Some people do. We don't. We should. Sorry. I know it's going to be hard to convince people to eat Dumbo, but
I just imagine their meat being very tough. That's the one thing about them, man.
I don't know. Maybe it probably depends on the cut, really.
I mean, because their skin is tough, so I feel like the inside of them is also tough. I just feel
but you can also buy a cow that's tough as well.
Maybe it's not tough. My girlfriend bought me a pair of shoes, and they're made from moose hide. It's the softest leather I've ever touched.
But it's treated.
Yeah, I was going to say it's treated that time.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I got all kinds of shoes, and let me tell you, there's a difference between, like lambskin. Lambskin's really soft, It's always softer than cowhide, right? Moose hide, that's something special.
Ooh, how about moose hide condoms or moose skin condoms instead of like sheep?
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh. All right.
Clown.
Justin.
80
My mind's always in the gutter.
Always, but I was going to say something before. I thought I better not. You're talking about all these skins being soft. I thought I'll just keep that one to myself. I'll wait till we're off. We're not live.
Yeah, I think we just need more elephants. I mean, hopefully they bring the mammoth back. I'm with you, ADS, because that would be awesome if you could just get a mammoth burger. Think about it.
You
Mammoth
can get
burger.
mammoth ice cream.
There's no mammoth in it. That's the problem.
We should write to the company, tell them false advertising.
Yeah.
They're advertising a mammoth ice cream. Damn, I
Right.
miss that ice cream. Why'd you guys have to bring that up? I even specially ordered it here, and the stores can't carry it, and
Damn.
it makes me big sad.
Just make it. It's
20,
basically like a
24th of
custard.
September, mate.
Right? Oh, you
Yeah.
better
See.
have some mammoth ice cream for me.
I'm gonna try all those things that you keep telling me about. Tom said when he picks me up from the airport, we're gonna go straight to In-N-Out at 8:00 in the morning and just wait. That's the first stop, In-N-Out.
We can wait at Denny's. They're always open.
I was just ordering.
Not after what I just heard from Justin.
Ah,
Oh, it
Pick
depends
it
on
up and
which one
think
you
it's
go
seasoning,
to.
but it's not. It's all the shit from the floors.
we can swing by Pink's and see if they're open.
Mm.
Yeah.
If we can get through the crowd of homeless people.
You just got to get was it cow catcher on your car, on your
I
Mustang?
get the scout has a cow catcher. Just have to get the scout running by then.
The
I believe
what?
in you.
My truck.
Oh god.
It's an international harvester. It looks like a Jeep, more or less.
I was gonna say the Jeep on the side
Except
of the house.
giant.
Yeah. Yep.
What size tires are on that?
35.
Okay.
35s, yeah, in a world where plenty of people put 40s or 42s on them.
What is it? $300 a tire? Look, I don't even
Oh, at
know.
least, yeah.
We go to Gammas with it.
A what?
What's that
Gammas?
place we're going? Gammas.
Glamis.
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 Yeah,
something.
we might make it a little ways through Glamis. It's an awful heavy truck to be driving in the dunes. Yeah. And that would be
We'll
the
be behind,
oldest thing out
pushing it.
there. Yeah.
We'll get Justin at the steering wheel there. He's the lightweight. We'll just have to push the bloody thing.
Yeah.
Hey, I've been working out. I'm stronger. I might not be able to push. I can at least push my own car, I believe, but I don't think I could push a Scout from a dead stop.
I mean, if you're not pushing uphill, it's not too bad. Believe me, I've pushed a few. You go out with a bunch of guys with old trucks, somebody's gonna have a problem. Yep. So I tried to change the tire on one on the street one day. I'd been working on it. It was like 110 that day. I was in the garage working on it. Decided to go to the auto parts store to get something. Completely shredded a tire driving down the street.
Oh shit.
And then I had taken everything out of it because I was working on it and left it in the garage. So I had to call my neighbor to bring me a tire and a jack. So and it needs a big jack, like a farm jack, right? Because it's lifted. So he brings all that stuff to me, and I get heat stroke trying to get the tire on this thing, right? So, and every time I jack it up to try to put the tire on it, it starts to slide into a ditch next to the road, right? And so I'm just like nauseated, dripping sweat, probably dehydrated. And I finally got that tire on, but I thought I was gonna die. And that was like 2 miles from the house, maybe. We do stuff like that, and do stuff like that. I mean, I go off-roading, and all of a sudden somebody's transmission's leaking all over the place, and they can't go anywhere. And then you're dragging them over mountains and stuff. Yeah, that happens all the time.
God.
Well, do you have a pulley on it, or someone have a pulley system usually?
Well, a lot of guys will have winches.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
electric
winch.
So yeah, I don't. Sometimes I do. People always have straps or yank straps, or so they have these big nylon straps, and if you build up enough tension, once you start pulling them out, the strap kind of, once the car breaks loose, the strap kind of pops you out of the sand, mud, ditch, whatever. So, but yeah. So.
Got a regular Indiana Jones on the crew.
MacGyver. Actually, I
Yeah.
just thought of that Black Carnival's lady's name, A-Day.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, that's
You
right. It
got
was a day.
Holy crap! Look at you.
Yeah, I've been thinking
Yeah.
about it ever since you spoke about it, and it was a day. The end of the name was
Well, I
day.
mean, it had to be something black.
It was a day.
A-Day.
Yeah.
A-Day. Yeah.
Yeah, she was. She had.
Typical Aspie. Just think a million miles an hour.
I haven't seen.
Until
I haven't seen her videos lately, but I still see Michael Anthony. We were supposed to do a video with him, and they were friends. She got it all hooked up, and then we didn't do it. So that's that New York crew. Everybody, all the New York people used to hang out together there. Yeah.
It's a bit like us. We all used to hang out. There's only 3 of us.
Well, Taryn was
fired.
part of that group, and she moved to Texas.
Right.
I wonder if what's his name? The guy, the admin from World Carnivore Tribe. I can't remember.
Travis?
Yeah, Travis. Travis was one part of that New York group too.
Oh yeah. Anyway, we're kind of just jabbering on at this point. Anything more to say about the Randy cycle, or any questions, or
Is that what the video was about?
Blood gooses,
Blood goose.
triglycerides.
Awesome goose.
Have we beaten
man.
this to death?
Yeah.
Michael Anthony used to be in a band called Mammoth. And maybe that's Michael Anthony of God, Van Halen. Maybe is it Mammoth? I don't know. We're talking about different Michael Anthony, probably.
I was in a band called Close Quarter Combat, so yeah.
Really?
I was.
Sounds more like a game.
Yeah, I think that's probably where he got the idea.
Yeah, that's where it was. That's where the leader got the idea. It's from a game.
Yeah, when are you gonna play your bass guitar in a video?
When I have time to play, I don't know.
Why isn't it?
I do have.
Do you play
have an
bass
idea.
guitar?
Yeah, I play bass guitar.
Always, or you just taken it up recently?
No, for like 10 years.
There you go. Just learned something new.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
I guess I did just post that video to you, Tom.
I did not know that early Van Halen was called Mammoth. And I grew up in Pasadena, so when I was a kid, Van Halen was the ultimate. Because like you could go to the mall and see Eddie Van Halen at the mall, you know. And when I worked at a record shop, and David Lee Roth would ride his motorcycle right up to the door, and in the middle of the day, the girls would hear that bike. I think it was a Harley of some kind. I don't remember, but I never actually looked at the bike. But they would hear that bike
Checking out the chicks,
and the girls would go crazy. David's here, David's here, David's here, and they'd all start running around the store, and then David Lee Roth would come in and buy some Bananarama tapes, and you know. Yeah, so now I'm gonna have to check out Mammoth.
If there's even recordings, could be they just did. No, maybe not.
On YouTube, you'll find something. Always.
Yeah, I know they always
Find
played it.
Everything on YouTube.
They played at this bar all the time. I'm trying to remember because there's this bar. They were like the house band. Like I was too young to go in there, but I did see them play outside. They were doing something outside in the parking lot. And I got to see that, but I was probably like 8 years old or something.
ADS just right. Eddie's son has a new band called Mammoth.
That's cool.
Ah, gotcha. Learn something every day. Mm-hmm. All right. Do we beat this
Panorama?
Yeah, no kidding. I remember I didn't ring him up.
That was so good.
Everybody was like, hey, what did he buy? What did he buy? It's like, oh, he bought Bananarama and I don't know, Thomas Dolby.
New Kids on the Block.
It was a long time ago. So,
I don't even know who Bananarama is. Like,
from the UK.
Grief, Justin, you embarrass me.
He doesn't even know who Belinda Carlisle is. This
I do not.
Fool over here.
Wow.
You do not know.
You don't know.
But he was posting memes about Talking Heads. Well, how was that possible?
Oh, wow. Brian Ferry. Was it?
That was
Brian Ferry?
David Byrne, and I can't remember the other people. Anyways, this is not my house. This is not my beautiful video.
Burning down the house.
So, anyways, thanks everybody for joining in.
Yeah, it was
good
fun.
seeing everybody. Send out video links for us. Help us grow the channel. That'd be a big help. Let us know what else you want to hear about too.
That's it. I'm your Venus. Yep.
Venus.
Let me fire. Yeah, I'm sure
Your
Justin
Desire.
heard the songs. He doesn't know who they are.
Oh, that's Bananarama.
Cool Summer was another one. Or Cruel Summer, sorry. Cruel Summer.
Yeah.
How about the Cars? Oh, there you go. Didn't know.
Of course. The Cars.
Maybe we could get maybe we can get someone to be a guest on the next time we're on.
Sure.
Come join the fun.
Somebody join us. Yeah, we can have like up to 6 people. So let us know
email
if
Justin.
you guys want to jump in. And maybe Christina or ADS wants to come on. So you guys are usually here anyways. Also come on and say hi. And me and ADS can drink some red wine, eat some cheese.
It's healthy. My dad thinks it's healthy.
Well, it may not be healthy, but it sure does taste good. All right, everybody. Thanks again. See you guys next week. Same
bat channel, same bat net network.
Bat time.
Oh, bat time.
Bedtime.
See
Magic
you to me.
Bus. Feel better.
Feel better. Whatever you do, don't fall down the honey hole.
Carb hole.